Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Haidar Salloum. I work for Microsoft in Gulf, in Dubai Internet City. I look after primarily channel, and there are 3 or 4 focus areas I look after, and I'll tell you why I am speaking to you today in this event. So, in my role, I take care of our distribution channel, our partners, our customers, primarily our small and medium customers, but I look after particularly the cloud. Okay, and the cloud has been a massive growth area for Microsoft and in the industry. So I hope in this very short presentation, I can share with you some of the changes, some of the approaches that we have, and how you can take benefit of that, okay, as a customer or as a partner along with Pacific projects. So I'll just start with with this slide that the world has changed. Okay, I just met a couple of faces over here that I know from a long time, and I remember how we used to engage, what type of technologies. When I joined Microsoft, NT 3.51 was just being released, and we definitely have come a long way in IT, in business, and how we handle and how we look at, the using information technology. But a just quick look back, in 1955, the companies that were listed on the Fortune 500, at that time, these were the biggest companies that are available. Okay, out of these companies, 500 companies, only 11% still exist today. Okay, 89% of them have gone, no longer exist, wiped away. Okay, bought by another company, no longer relevant. There has been a lot of change, and this is a big, big change. The average age of a company on the Fortune 500 was 75 years. Today, the average age of a company on the Fortune 500 is less than 15. So we're in an environment, a very dynamic, very aggressive environment that pushes people and companies and organizations to innovate, to add value, to change their approach, to reinvent their business models every few years. In fact, I just wanted to, I was reading the other day a book by Jack Welch, and I don't know if you know Jack Welch, a very famous management guru at General Electric, and he mentioned when the pace of innovation and change on the outside is faster than the pace of innovation on the inside your organization, then you realize that kind of like the end is close. You need to keep changing. You need to rethink your approach, your model, and how to tackle and incorporate these changes. Why? Because you're competitive, because your organizations, the environment, and Dubai has been at the forefront of this. Dubai doesn't want to look, and I know a lot of the customers are really government customers and saying, why is Haidar telling us about change and competitive? I mean, competition over here is being a more competitive government in order to service the citizens and the employees and the tenants in a better, in a smart way. Okay? So that's the real approach to change. So what I've put here is a slide. I know it's a little bit busy, but that's the new mission and vision of Microsoft. If you remember 20 years ago, Microsoft was all about, let's put a PC on every desk, okay, in every home, in every office, right? That has changed. Today, it's all about how we empower every person and every organization on the planet in a world of mobile first, cloud first. These are the 2 trends that we see in the market that are making massive changes in the approach of how users, companies, organizations consume and manage and engage with technology. So the three areas where you see us, what we call the ambitions, where we see us focusing on, are related to productivity and how we can reinvent productivity and business process, and then how to create more personal computing with the new Windows 10, Windows as a Service, Surface, Surface Pro 4 will be announced tomorrow. The new band. I mean, we're coming in with a lot more first-party hardware as Microsoft, something that you're not used to Microsoft doing. But most importantly, and related to this topic of the session, is how to build the intelligent cloud platform. So it's all about how we can help, support, build a cloud platform. So what is this intelligent cloud platform? And what's really the relationship between Microsoft, Pacific, and I heard Microsoft, you guys have your own cloud offering. And how does it work with the Pacific cloud offering? And do they conflict? And what if I'm a government organization or I'm a bank and I want to run things locally at my own premise? And how can you guys help me together? So that's what I wanted to touch on. But before we do that, I want to give you a small case on the cloud. Why should you consider the cloud? Why is the cloud, and what are the different types of cloud that we need to look at? So let's look at some of the cloud benefits. Okay, peace of mind and agility. Okay, and what Mr. Dilip referred to, offering computing as a commodity, as a utility. Okay, this is where the cloud becomes a very strong offering and ecosystem. So a lot of the companies are moving to cloud because they want to preserve work capital. Today we're in an environment where the oil price is at $40. If you go speak to a business and you tell them you want to spend $100,000 to upgrade your mail server, or you're okay to spend 20,000 dirhams or 10,000 dirhams a month paying for the cloud on a monthly basis. A lot of the businesses today are more happy to make an OPEX payment than a CAPEX payment. A lot of people are staffing up for the 2020. So the question is, do companies or organizations invest a lot of money and effort to buy systems for 2020, and what happens after 2020? Will these be still used? Will they be utilized? So all this, okay, is looked at, and you want to look into a system where you look at a more OPEX model versus a CAPEX model. This is what's attracting a lot of the customers to the cloud. Having the latest technology, I mean, last month in September, towards the 21st of September, we announced Office 2016. But if you are on Microsoft Cloud Platform with Office 365, you didn't need to do anything because you automatically have Office 2016. In fact, there is a big difference in the way we develop our products nowadays. So now we announce Office 2016, and if you're on the cloud platform, every 3 months there will be an update that the people or the users or the customers on the cloud offering will get, that the customers who bought under on-premise will not get. And then every 3 months there will be a new update, okay? And in, I don't know, 8 quarters or 14 quarters, all these changes will be gathered together and will be refreshed on-premise with a new version, maybe Office 2018 at that time. So if you are using cloud, you always guarantee the latest, the best, the most recent, and you'll have to not worry about upgrading and changing the environment. So a lot of the customers are interested in this, in the cloud, because of the always current, they're always using the latest technology. and they don't have to worry about refresh and upgrade and so on. Predictable costs and scales. I mean, I work with a lot of the companies who work in the contracting and business, and all they want to worry about to cost the project is to say how much would, if I take on this project and I add 50 engineers, how much more infrastructure I need to pay them. So if you have an offering that gives you a predictable cost that can scale up and down depending on your requirement, this is a very powerful offer. A lot of us, when we go to buy a new server, for example, what do we buy? Do we buy with the minimum load expected, the average load expected, or the maximum load expected? If we buy for the minimum load expected, automatically in a very short period of time, we'll surpass that. If we buy for the average, at the high peak times, we will always be, our system cannot support the number of users. If we buy for the maximum number of users, there will be a lot of inefficiency, unutilized resources, computing resources that will be available. The cloud solves that because it allows you to take what you have and be able to scale up and down as the demand goes, okay? And have a very predictable cost structure attached to that. Enterprise grade, I mean, this one I like because a lot of the time in the past, only the very large organizations that have very complex IT organizations, okay, in them, and IT expertise were able to support these complex systems, So today with the cloud, it just becomes a service. It becomes much more easier to activate and enable. I'll give you a very simple example. If today you want to build an enterprise social platform, we have a product for that called YAM. Previously, you had to have a new server, an engineer, and you send him on special training in order to support the users internally on YAM. Today, Yammer is a service that you activate, or Skype for Business, telephony. You have to have a very high-end engineers on board, okay, that have their own training, their own readiness in order to support that. Today, the smallest companies as well as the mid companies and the large companies can get that enterprise grade level of capabilities as a service. That simplified the technology and made it available to a lot more of the users. Plus, having the ability to redeploy IT talent on more strategic projects, it's a very important concept. Because if you think about our status in the IT industry, we'll always have people, we're always short of people, we always don't have enough people to support the projects that we have on hand. In fact, Gartner predicts that 70%, okay, 70% of the time of your current IT team is spent on maintaining existing infrastructure. And only 30% is invested in building new capability, new muscle, and new applications that the business needs. What the cloud allows you to do is to reduce the number of resources you have on supporting that existing infrastructure. So if you have an email, you don't necessarily need 2 to 3 engineers in-house to support email. Because if you can get this as a service from Pacific, from Microsoft, you will be able to redeploy these IT engineers into another value-added new capability building for the organization. Last but not least is the ability to offer industry-leading privacy SLAs around that. Because the cloud drives scale, you will see a lot more capability to offer better SLAs for their organizations. So the case for the cloud is building up. In fact, it's growing so fast. In our earning report as Microsoft, our CEO reported an annualized revenue of $8 billion last year. I mean, that's a massive, massive business, new business that didn't exist there a couple of years ago. And not only this, the expectation is in a couple of years, this number will grow to $17 billion. So this is a very big potential growth that is happening. This is not because there's it's just because that we think that the customers, the end customers, the users, the IT organizations, the business, the CFOs are asking for something like this to support. So I want to talk a little bit about this, and I apologize for the slides, a bit busy, but I'll explain. So how does this world work? How will we work together, Microsoft, Pacific, and your own IT environment? It all comes down to this view over here. So the biggest question I get, okay, shall I move to cloud, or I don't need to move to cloud? Shall I put everything on premise? Shall I put everything on a private cloud? Why should I use specific controls? A service provider cloud that is available in country. When do I use all of that? So Microsoft, unlike other vendors, believe that all these approaches will work. Let me explain that. So every customer will look at the workloads that they have internally. You could decide that email is important, but is a commodity workload. You don't need to, spend, $50,000 to $100,000 on getting a mail server, a couple of mail servers, storage, antivirus, archiving, right? 2 engineers, one primary, another backup, one backup if one goes on vacation or so on, and decides that email is an important workload, but it's a commodity workload. You know what? I want to take this workload and not run it internally, but actually push it to Microsoft. Let them run it in their own cloud. And because Microsoft runs Office 365 from their cloud, they'll offer me a 3 nines availability type of SLA. So that's option one. Second option, because your business is insurance, for example, and you have your core insurance application, or core banking application, or credit card application, or whatever, you decide that this application is a very important workload. It's core for your business. And you might not be interested in moving this to cloud. And you say, you know what? I want to run this on my own premise, in my own data center, because this is core for my business. And you might think that I have another application or another workload that is, I can outsource it to cloud, but this is because of legal framework in the country, data sovereignty rules, I need to keep it in country. So this is where I put it at a service provider, and here a service provider is like Pacific Control in this case. So unlike other vendors, where they tell you, if you speak to one of the vendors, it tells you, drop everything, you don't need to have anything locally, and put everything on the public cloud. Another vendor comes and tells you, you know what? Forget about the public cloud, and put everything on your private in-house cloud. Microsoft tells you that the truth is in between. It depends on your workload, it depends on your environment, it depends on your approach. You will have to make a decision what workloads you want to push to public cloud, what workloads you want to keep on-premise in your own data center, and what workloads you want to put with a service provider like Pacific Controls. And the most important thing, this environment needs to work together in a seamless way. So the user will not feel that the email he's accessing is really coming from a data center for Microsoft in Europe, okay? Or the credit application is coming from a server in the server room in the next door, and maybe the website is hosted on Pacific Controls, data center in DIP. So the customer should not, the user, the regular user, will not feel that difference and will be able to provide this across all these environments working together. This is what we call the hybrid cloud. This is the main differentiator of Microsoft. We're one of the few vendors that will work very closely with the service provider, and our relationship with Pacific is an example of that. We're one of the biggest investors in data center. In fact, we're one of the largest top 3 investors in data center worldwide, where we, making massive investments of billions of dollars every year on building new and upgrading current capability of data center. And we will continue to sell you the software to put it together in your own data center as a customer and manage it in there. So that's what we call the Cloud OS. That's the availability to offer it across all. Now, the service provider here, will play a very critical role in the form of offering, a hybrid solution, managed services offering, and this is the power. It's the managed services, that make this offering a little bit more different. Now, some of the trends that we see that are moving, things like enterprise mobility. I want to deploy a mobile app, very big common scenario now with the move to smart government and so on. What happens to the back-end data? What should I worry about? How fast can I deploy this app or capability and not have to worry about, enterprise mobility back-end support? Data management analytics, all this Power BI and massive amounts of data that's being provided. How can I get this data analytics as a service? Application development. I want to get a dev and test environment. I need 2 servers, a couple of storage boxes. How fast can I deploy this? Should I go and invest in buying these locally, or should I go to a service provider like Pacific and say, can you provide me this on 2 months period, because I need this dev and test environment for 2 months. I will not need it at a later point. And obviously a general cloud infrastructure and Internet of Things. And these are some of the booming scenarios where we see a lot of adoption or very fast adoption of what we have on the cloud. So one of the things that I want to share with you is that we work also with Pacific on offering the first, and they are the first partner for us in this interesting program called the Cloud Solution Provider Program. The Cloud Solution Provider Program will allow Pacific to offer Microsoft Cloud services and have a seamless integration, billing, provisioning with our data centers and our systems. So, they can offer you flexible billing per month type of offering. Okay, this is a very powerful thing. If you're and gave the example of a contracting company, you win a project for 6 months, you want to deploy users for 6 months. How fast can you get the billing monthly? Okay, change it up or down. Okay, so if you buy for somebody a particular plan, an E3 plan, and you want to downgrade it next month for some of the users to E1, or maybe some of the users increase it. How do you have that flexibility of billing and changing the requirement? Things like provisioning and managing the customer subscription, a first point of contact definitely for offering the Microsoft support through them, okay? And obviously a lot of managed value-added services being offered through them. So this program is a new program that will offer through Pacific. So Pacific will be able to sell you the full Microsoft capabilities and clouds besides their own data center offering and cloud. So on the Microsoft Cloud, what do we have? I know you know most of the products, but I'll just mention the 2 most known or required ones. The first one is Office 365. And Office 365 is not a Microsoft Office only, it's actually a combination of Microsoft Office as a desktop application locally installed on your PC, but also a set of services that you get in the background, like email, okay? So 50 gigabytes worth of storage, Yammer, which is an enterprise social app, a Skype for Business, what we used to call Link, is now rebranded as a Skype for Business, OneDrive for Business. I was just having a chat this morning with one of the colleagues on OneDrive for Business. And in OneDrive for Business, where we offer it's I'll say unlimited storage per user, terabytes of storage per user, just for having, the Office 365 subscription. So a lot of organizations have used the OneDrive as a great backup solution, in the sense of, okay, so they put the user's data, okay, and they put that on OneDrive. So I'll work locally, and I'll have a local copy of my data, but it will always be synced to my OneDrive. So if I connect to using my phone, if I connect using my tablet, if I connect using my home PC or any other PC, I can connect to my OneDrive and the data will be there. If something goes wrong with my machine, I rebuild a new machine, I just connect to that OneDrive and I'll have the stuff locally. So OneDrive is heavily used as a great backup solution, if you want, for the users as well. So this Office 365 is available and you can get it. The second, which is a key offering, it's Microsoft Azure. And Azure is a very interesting offering. I know some of you know that already, but for the rest, it's a great infrastructure as a service offering and platform as a service offering. And there's a difference in that. In an infrastructure as a service offering, you would request a virtual machine type of environment, and you will get, with certain computing resources, block this virtual machine, with certain bandwidth, certain memory, computing power, and we will charge you, okay, few cents per storage, per bandwidth, per minutes of usage of this virtual machine being available. This is a perfect example of the infrastructure as a service type of offering that we have. Platform as a service is that if you have a particular application that you want to make it on cloud, you will write the application to Azure as a platform rather than you just get the virtual machine. And by doing that, you will enable the platform capabilities of the cloud into your own application. So if you're an ISV, if you have an application that you want to sell with a cloud model, okay, the best way to do this is to get Azure, is to build your app as a platform as a service on top of Azure and get that offering through Pacific in order for you to offer this app as a service. So the last one I want to mention is Enterprise Mobility Suite, and this is one of the fastest growing services that we have. Enterprise Mobility Suite offers three things. First, it offers a what we call AD Premium, Active Directory Premium offering, allows users to log in, single sign-on across multiple applications, multi-factor authentication. So if you want your application or your users to connect and receive an SMS on their phone or receive a phone call, like what we have today with some of the banking systems, you can offer that through the Enterprise Mobility Suite. So that's the first offering. The second one is what we call the Mobile Device Management. And the Mobile Device Management allows you to manage all these devices and apps and phones and tablets, whether they're Microsoft, whether they're on iOS, Android, any type of system that's available. We will do the device management through these. And a lot of the businesses today have a bring your own device strategy. A lot of the organizations want to have that offering, so this will be available through Enterprise Mobility Suite. The last component of Enterprise Mobility Suite is related to information right management, and this is where I have content level security to manage who gets access to what content. So if I have in the organization some secure content that I want to restrict only to finance team, or only to top management, or only to legal, and people cannot forward, cannot print screen even, cannot copy this content in anything. So these three services are available as well through Enterprise Mobility Suite. This is a type of offering that we have today on the cloud. And this type of offering is available, okay, from Microsoft, or obviously purchased through Pacific Control. The beauty of this allows you to offer this with a few dollars or dirhams per user per month, okay? And you can put the subscription up and down as you see fit. So, with that, okay, I end my session, and I tell you on the last thought that what we built with Pacific Control through their own local data center, through leveraging the Microsoft cloud offering, okay, and obviously through a very strong set of SLAs and managed services, will be very powerful in supporting your own environment, okay, your own IT requirement. With that, I thank you very much for listening.